What's up, everyone, and welcome to Project XTalk, an Xbox podcast, episode number 125, presented by Save the Game Media. I'm your host, Kevin, and I am joined by my usual co-host, Mr. Physical Copy. Ethan, how are you doing, buddy?
My fault, everyone. Blame me for this. All right. It is. We already had to move this to 7 because I started work. Now it's 7:20 and we're just getting started here. My fault. We'll get this in order. Don't worry. Bear with me. I promise you guys I won't make this a habit. But thank you all for bearing with me. I'm doing good, Kevin. I've had a rough day, but I'm ready to talk some video games and make it a better day. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. I got some stuff going on. I dropped my car off at the old repair shop
That's never fun.
yesterday. All right, because I got hit in the parking lot about a month
All
ago.
right. Yep.
Whatever, little dent, no big deal. I'm like, this will be easy. All right,
Yeah.
they'll fix this right up. Probably call me same day, and then they're like, oh yeah, so we might have the bumper in by Friday. I'm like, what are you talking about? And they're like, yeah, it's like best case scenario, and I'm like, okay, but I need my car. Like I can't go to work.
But a human that's an adult that needs to
Yeah,
do things.
I need to get toilet paper. Like you don't understand, guys. All right, like we're running low here.
Yep.
Okay, so I don't know, man. I'm just sitting here. I'm like, this is annoying, especially because Progressive told them ahead of time, like, here's everything that needs to be ordered, and then they just didn't do it.
They just didn't do it. Yeah.
They just didn't do it because they're like, we want to do our own inspection. I was like,
Yeah.
I hate you. I hate you people. Fix my car. Other than that, I'm doing all right.
We're
I'm
both
ready
dealing with it. We're both dealing with it, you know.
ready to talk about some video games. But
yeah.
if you are new here, this is Project X Talk, an Xbox podcast. We are live every Thursday, usually 5, 7, who knows, sometime Eastern time in the evening. We will be here live on YouTube. If you can't catch us live, we post every Friday morning on your favorite podcast service of choice. So please head on over there, drop us a rating, drop us a review. It does help us grow. If you'd like to interact with us more, please come join the Discord. The link is down in the description below. Been a while since we had a new one really pop in, but if you guys want to be that person, come hang out, talk games. I think we were talking Hogwarts earlier in there, so we got some stuff going on. And if you want to support us further, get early access to Save the Game Media content and exclusive post shows, go over to patreon.com/Save the Game Media. Choose the tier that's right for you, like our current Patreon supporters. So thank you to Bucky Blue, Hopple, Alpaca Tom, Amon, Fabulous Brianna, Brianna's mom, Brianna's brother, Brianna's wife, Nikolai Knight, Cypher, Primus, Brendan Myers, Marcus O'Neill, Lillian, Mimi J, The Snack Network, David Hotright, Dave Harp, and the Xbox Expansion Pass. Thank you for your support. We appreciate every single one of you. And before we go any further, I just gotta give a quick shout out. All right, I don't do this, but I gotta give a shout out to friends of the show, Sean Capri and Mr. Badbit from the Trophy Room. They just talking to them today. They know what the shout out is for. Appreciate both of you. Go check out Carpool Gaming in the Trophy Room if you guys haven't done that. Amazing people over there. Love you guys. So, Ethan, now that we got that out of the way, how about we begin each week like we do? Way going around the room and asking one simple question. That question is, what have you been playing?
Oh man. Okay, so I've been playing into No Man's Sky again. They had a new update. You know, I that's one of my go-tos, Kevin. I jump back into it when I'm bored, when I got nothing else to play. New update's really cool. I know this was in a previous update, but I ran into a settlement for the first time. So for anyone that hasn't played No Man's Sky in a while, you can find settlements on certain planets now and manage them. You can do building projects. You can, deal with conflicts between citizens. You can grow the population. You can fix issues within the settlement. It's actually a really cool feature that they did that I think they put a lot of depth into, and it's really fun to sort of manage this thing. And it constantly gives you updates of what's going on in your colony on the planet. And it has a teleporter there that you can go back and sort of manage these conflicts while you're exploring the galaxy and everything. So really, really cool from No Man's Sky. Again, a game that's been out almost 5 years now. Am I thinking that correctly? It came out a while ago.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. Yeah, and they've just given us nothing but free content updates. I mean, it's been ridiculous. And, they came out after it came out. Obviously, there was all the controversy because it was broken and a lot of broken promises. And they've really bounced back like crazy. I pretty much say it every time I jump back in to a new update. It's really impressive. So any of you No Man's Sky fans out there, make sure to jump back in and try out the new update. Other than that, I wanted to talk a little bit about Wolong Fallen Dynasty because
Do you want to talk about it right now, or do you want to save it for the review roundup?
Ooh, you know what? Let's save it for the review roundup because we're going to be having that discussion anyways. But I did play a lot of the demo of Wolong Fallen Dynasty, pretty much beat most of the bosses except for the last one, which frustrated the hell out of me. I rage quit. But I should be jumping a little bit into tonight, more tomorrow, and into the weekend. So I'm really excited to talk about that a little bit with you, Kev.
Awesome, awesome. Well, yeah, I'm excited to hear more about Wolong. I have been playing 3 games primarily since we last spoke. One I cannot talk about, but I did finish it. All right, I can say that I have beaten the game that I couldn't talk about, and you will learn about that next week. So stay tuned for that. Other than that, I've been playing Like a Dragon Ishin. Finally, hop back
Ooh,
into it,
yeah.
and it's still just as good as I said previously. I do think the combat is kind of getting a little repetitive. Unfortunately, I'm
Oh,
about 7.5 hours in. I'm halfway through the main story, I should say. If I wanted to do everything else, if you want 100% it, it's like 50 hours long.
I was reading the how long to beat, and the completionist was listed as 100 hours.
Okay, so
Kevin.
maybe I'm being a little generous there. So, main story wise, it's probably 15, 20 hours, depending on what difficulty you're playing as. Having a great time. It's the melodramatic, over the top. I'm doing a few side quests here and there. Like one, you just run into this crowd of people that have the weirdest dance. They're like ja ja, and they just move their hands like this, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. But every time like people come up and start harassing them, and then you put them in their place, and then
Yeah.
I finished the quest line, and at the end your guy just gets in the line, and it's like a close up on his face. He's
So
just
you're
dancing.
protecting the people dancing, and then you
Yeah,
join them.
I'm
That's
like,
beautiful.
this game is silly.
What a Yakuza
Yeah,
mission right
there's
there.
a side quest where it's like a grandma falls down, and it's like, oh, do you want to help her to her house? And I was like, you got it. You're
You
fine.
said no? What, is there a morality system in this
No,
game? You
no.
just be
It just
horrible.
she's gonna lay there until I agree to help her. But I'm like, I got other things to do right now. She's just
You come
laying on the
back after
ground.
half of the game, she's still on the ground.
I,
You're just like,
every time I
"No."
run, she has a nice question mark on the map. Every time I run by her,
Oh,
she's just laying on the ground there.
you're evil,
Just like
Kevin,
I
evil.
ran to a courier and sprained his ankle, so he can't make his deliveries. He's just laying on the ground, hurt too, and I'm just like,
You're just bodying people out there
later,
and
I got
leaving.
things to do. But the game I do want to mention that I've been playing with the girlfriend, Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. Gotta say,
Yep, talk to me.
think we're into world 3, so
Okay.
maybe a little less than halfway. We're getting to the halfway part. It's not a very long game. I love this game.
Nice.
I love every time I play a Kirby game, it's not the most difficult of tasks, right? Like Kirby games are easy, but they're just relaxing, they're fun. They're more of like
Yeah.
trying to solve puzzles to get all the collectibles during a level. Really great. And what I've done for this is because I have no interest in being Kirby. All right. I'm not here for Kirby. So I give her the player one controller. And then me, I'm like, I'm going to be the guest and I'm going to be my boy King Dedede. So I'm just a
King
giant
DDD.
fat penguin. Walk
Yeah,
it, smash. That's all I wanted this game for, was to be King Dedede. You can be
that's
Meta Knight
awesome.
or Bandana D or whatever, but I'm here for King Dedede, and I love it. It's so much fun, having an absolute blast with that.
It's awesome.
Yeah, definitely a recommend for me. I'll probably talk more about it when we do save the Game Boy for March. But
Yep.
man, such a good time, and it's perfect. It's one of those perfect games for like people that don't play video games that much. Like,
Right.
yeah, it's just I don't know, man. It's fantastic. Absolutely. Have you picked it up yet?
I really, really want to, but like I've talked about in our next story, we're going to be talking about a game that I feel like is going to capture a few decades of my life here. It's going
Nah,
to be a long time.
it's only like 20 hours long.
Oh, I'm going to be playing the hell out of it, Kevin. I got to 100% this. I got to have fun with this.
Huh. Well, let's talk about it then, because I know
Yep.
you're champing at the bit. And yes, folks, it is champing, not chomping at the bit, in case you're wondering. But story number one is
You
our
sure?
Wolong. Yes, I'm 100% sure. Common misconception: people say chomping at the bit. It's
What is
champing.
champing?
Horses champ at the bit. They don't chomp.
Who
They
watches
champ.
horse racing anymore, Kevin?
Anyway,
Yep.
story number one is our Wolong Fallen Dynasty review roundup. So, Wolong Fallen Dynasty drops tomorrow or today, depending on when you're listening to this. And the reviews are in, currently sitting at an 82 on
Ooh.
OpenCritic. It's gone down since this morning, Ethan.
Yeah.
For our fantasy team, that sucks.
It's tough.
Still good points, but
Yep.
not as good. It seems Team Ninja, though, has another good game on their hands. Mitchell Saltzman at IGN sums up his thoughts by saying, quote, familiar issues with storytelling and loot aside, Wolong Fallen Dynasty is another great entry in Team Ninja's growing collection of action RPGs that feature some of the best combat in the Souls-like genre, even though those battles start to lose their tension due to a distinct lack of enemy variety to fill out the 20+ hour runtime. Push Square says, quote, Wolong is an excellent action RPG that offers an even more hardcore take on the increasingly popular Souls-like formula. It's fast, frenetic, and hits like a truck with one of the most mesmeric combat systems we've ever had the pleasure to master. It might scare off more casual players, but those looking for a challenge, well, you can stop looking. So, Ethan, good reviews. Seems like critics are pretty much it's good, not amazing. I want to know your thoughts. You've played the demo. You're going to be hopping in first
Yep.
thing tomorrow.
Yeah, so I'm a little biased here. I am a huge fan of this Dynasty Warriors style gameplay, right? This sort of hack and slash, big weapons, big pole arms. It's really fun to me. Basically, doing combos, doing quick attacks, power attacks. I love that sort of combat, and I love what Team Ninja does with their video games. And I gotta say that they knocked it out of the park with this. I love the combat system. Me and Sam were talking. Sam talks about Neo, a game series that is really heavily inspired, or excuse me, that this is really heavily inspired after. I don't have a lot of experience with Neo, but for anyone out there who has played Neo and really enjoyed that, Sam Heaney said that that's pretty much what you should expect when you get into this game. I compare it to basically like Elden Ring or excuse me, Dark Souls and Dynasty Warriors had a baby. It's extremely fun. It is difficult. Sam said it best. If you're good at Sekiro, you'll be good at this game. The combat styles are sort of the same. It's very fast paced, very action oriented. There's a double jump. There's a lot more what's the word I'm looking for? Verticality to the maps and everything. And what I think the approach is really cool with the different maps. So you get put into a new level every time. It's not a big open world like Elden Ring, and it's not sort of a world that you backtrack in a lot like Dark Souls. You're put into a new world and you kind of start off at the bottom again, level 0, right? And then you go throughout the world and you find checkpoints and different flag areas to increase your fortitude rank, which is sort of your base rank. And the more enemies you kill, you can upgrade your morality rank, which gets you higher and higher throughout the level. So the fortitude rank is like as low as you can go. Morality, you can go up to a certain maximum. I think the first level, it's 25 is the maximum. But every time you die, you lose a little bit of that morality rank, and the
Okay.
enemies gain some morality rank. So I
Mm,
really like that sort of combat system. The whole world seems to revolve around your combat, and if you die, certain enemies will upgrade, certain enemies will downgrade as you kill them, and they respawn. So you can sort of farm enemies to go into a boss battle to be at a higher level. I'm really enjoying it. I think it's cool. The parry system feels really good. The dodging, I haven't even attempted to really dodge yet. I think the parry is very generous with its timing, and there's not really any attacks that you can't parry, which is sort of different from a lot of the other Souls types. So if you're good at parrying and you're good at timing, this is a game that you can really get into, I think, and enjoy. And yeah, I'm really having a great time with it so far.
that's awesome. I'm glad you're enjoying it. This was one that I think looks really cool. I'm not the Souls guy, as anyone, as anyone
No,
here
yeah, you
knows.
would not like this.
I literally put 8 hours into Bloodborne and Rage uninstalled it. Okay,
You put a whole 8 in it?
I don't know, 6, 8. It all blends together when you're suffering. All right, But in terms of this, I've thought the aesthetic to Wolong looked awesome for since it was revealed. I was really bummed when they said it was a Souls like because I was like, oh man, that's probably too difficult for me. And then reading these reviews, especially the Push Square one, where it's like casuals won't want to play this game. I was like, I don't, unfortunately, even with it being on Game Pass, I don't think this is one that I can like hop
Yeah.
into and feel confident that like I'm gonna make any significant ground in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wish there was a Souls like played Code Vein for a little bit, but even that one I got it's so cumbersome to
Yeah.
me.
Going back to what you said about the art style, it really is beautiful. If anyone's ever played Sekiro, you'll kind of know what I'm saying here in that it's based in obviously feudal Japan or feudal China, right? One of the two, and it's kind of like pagodas and different castles in that style and everything just seems bigger You know, if anyone's played Sekiro, you just seem so small in that world. And this kind of takes that reign where you're moving throughout the map and it's just like, man, a lot of insurmountable odds are in front of me, but you slowly chip away at them and you slowly get to the next checkpoint to get up your fortitude rank so you can take on the next wave of enemies. And, you know, you're just slowly eating away at all that. And it encourages you to explore the map a lot because there's sort of these like sub checkpoints that are optional kind of, and it encourages you to sort of take the less beaten path and to go explore a little bit and to fight the special enemy that's on the map that you wouldn't normally have to go take on, but there's a flag behind him and you want to get it to up your fortitude rank so you can take on the final boss, so you're taking on this little mini boss that's in the map. Just a lot of little perks in there that give you that extra bit of push to go explore the map. A lot of different cool armor sets that you can find, a lot of cool weapon sets, a lot of cool different fighting styles and spells that you can get to do combos and everything. It just seems like there's so many different ways you can build up your character as well. And that's one thing that Souls types are people really attached to in Souls types is that sort of meta build, right? And what
Mm-hmm.
different types of characters they can build. This is definitely a game I think you can do that. Like for me personally, I mostly use a pole arm, so I have a little bit of speed, but I can still get that length, and I can still sort of hit people as they're far away from me. And I like the parry timing on it and everything. So everyone will, you know, try out different weapons. There's the big hammers, of course. There's the quick dual swords. You know, there's a playing style in there for everyone. And there's also ranged. You can do crossbows, you can do bows, all that stuff. So there's a lot of versatility in this. I think that anybody who likes the Souls genre, you'll have a combat style in this that you can really attach to and enjoy.
Awesome. Yeah, I did hear, just for to be transparent, I did hear there were some technical issues, at least for the review copies that
Hmm.
people were playing, especially on Xbox. Some of the cutscenes were hitching and some frame drops during boss battles. But I've also read that the day one patch apparently resolves a lot of issues. So
Yep.
if you've played the demo or the alpha, I think last year, and you
Yeah.
weren't
The alpha
overly
was broken.
yeah, or weren't overly impressed with the technical aspects, rest assured some things have been addressed. So you should have a much better experience diving in today or whenever you're jumping into it. All
Yeah.
right. So
Excited.
awesome. Glad it got us a few fantasy points too. I
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
first,
Yeah.
especially because it looks
I
like
think it should be more.
Destiny Lightfall is not gonna come through for
Yeah. I
us.
don't know what happened with that, Kevin.
I
I don't know.
Bungie, what are you doing?
I thought that was an easy dub for us.
I thought that was an easy 90.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Bungie? Ugh.
Oops.
Anyway, story number 2, Ethan. IO Interactive has announced their new game. So, IO Interactive is known for the Hitman series, but they've announced their latest project, an online fantasy RPG. Announced on Twitter, they say they are looking for more developers to help make the game. So, safe to say it is still years away. How are we feeling about them transitioning from Hitman to this new online fantasy RPG?
Look, I'm a big fan of the Hitman series. I'm a big fan of IO Interactive. But I like them because of their single player experiences, and it seems they've been trying to move towards like a live service model, especially with I think it's Hitman World of Assassination or something like that they pulled out earlier this year. And now they're talking about this online fantasy RPG. I don't know. I again, I'm not a huge MMO guy. I'm not a huge multiplayer only guy. I don't play games like Rainbow Six Siege or Payday or Rocket City Crime Bus. I don't know if you saw the previews for that. It's basically Payday, but really bad. Um, just games like that don't really speak to me. And IO Interactive to me is one of the greatest single player game creators that are out there. One of the greatest stealth game creators that are out there. I'm more excited for their James Bond project that they have in the works right now. This speaks nothing to me, especially being an online project. But the James Bond one is what I'm keeping my eye out for. I hope IO understands that we want their single player games, we want their stealth games, we want what they do best, and that's single player stealth games.
All right, Ethan, time for me to put on
Uh-oh.
my contrarian hat here
Oh no.
because I don't like the Hitman games.
Yeah, yep. I know this.
I did not enjoy playing them. I did not think the stealth was that good, especially compared to games like Splinter Cell or even Origami, which I played on Game Pass. I loved my experience
Origami
with that.
was very
That's a
fun, yeah.
fun stealth
It's
game.
very
I did
fun.
not enjoy Hitman, and I know I'm in the minority there. People love it. That's great. Everyone can differ. I totally forgot about the James Bond project that they were working on as
Yes.
well. So thank you for reminding me of that. Unfortunately, I don't care about James Bond.
Oh,
So
man, you're just trying to piss everyone off today, Kevin.
yeah, come at me. Come at me, all
Oh
right? Throw Minecraft.
my.
Minecraft sucks.
All right, that's enough. That's enough.
But this fantasy RPG, you got me, all
But
right?
online, Kevin.
That could mean a plethora of things. If it's like a online like World of Warcraft thing, yeah, maybe it's not for me. I'm not really
Right.
looking to spend my time in that. If it's just like a online experience, like you could do co-op and stuff, that is something I can
Okay.
get
Yeah,
behind.
yeah.
Or even like a go in with a group of people, like 4 or even 6 or whatever. Like say just a small group, get your friends together, go out into a fantasy world. That sounds great to me. I would have an absolute blast with that because I am a big nerd. I love the fantasy, high fantasy stuff, and this looks like it's calling to me. So let's get this. Move this up the list there, IO. All right, appease Kevin Ainsworth specifically. Okay, like this dude's chatting crap about Hitman. Uh,
No, just focus on James Bond, please, for the love of God.
I don't even know. It's just, to me, the James Bond game is just going to be another Hitman game, but with James Bond.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know enough about the game. Obviously, we have to wait until we see a little bit more info, and I think that's the same approach we should take with this game. Like you said, I don't know if this is going to be an MMO or it's going to be a payday style 4-person jump in, or it's going to be a battle royale for all I freaking know. But it just
Oh
seems that
God.
IO Interactive has sort of been chasing trends in the last year or so. They've been trying to make Hitman more of a live service model instead of a standalone single player game. And this seems like just them trying to go out and chase more trends with this online interactivity, which again, I'm more of a single player person. And I think the majority of gamers, especially enthusiasts, are single player oriented players. So I don't know. I don't really like that direction.
We'll find out. We'll see what's
We'll
going
see.
on with them.
Yep.
Still years away, like we said, so
Yeah.
plenty of
Yeah.
time to get more details, and I'm sure we'll cover them as they come out. But another announcement we got via Twitter was that Elden Ring is getting DLC, surprising absolutely no one. From Software has confirmed Elden Ring is getting DLC. They say, quote, rise, tarnished, and let us walk a new path together. An upcoming expansion for Elden Ring called Shadow of the Erd Tree is
Yep.
currently in development. We hope you look forward to new adventures in the land between. So another Souls game that I will have nothing to do with, but you liked Elden Ring. So
Yep.
tell me, why should I be excited? What's an Erd Tree?
Well, you shouldn't be excited at all, Kevin. You can go to sleep tonight happy. You're fine. You don't gotta worry about this. Shadow of the Erd Tree. I don't know. I didn't beat the game, Kevin. I'm just gonna come out and say it. And I think a lot of Elden Ring players will admit that they didn't beat the game. I put probably 70 hours into it, and I felt like I got my money's worth, and I moved on to a different project. I got to like the capital city, and I ran all over the capital city, did a bunch of stuff, and then I was like, all right, I'm probably gonna call it quits.
What's funny is Elden Ring actually has an incredibly high platinum percentage. So a lot of people
That's
not
pretty
only beat the
intense.
game, but they platinum the game.
That's pretty intense. That's pretty intense. But look, Elden Ring, obviously one of the greatest games I would say of all time. I mean, I would put it up there with some of the greatest names of all. I'm not going to personally say it's the greatest game ever. I have my own, but this is definitely up there for a lot of people. Probably the favorite game of a lot of people. This is going to be a big DLC drop. It'll be really interesting to see some of the videos that come out. I'm obviously going to watch a lot of YouTube videos and see what the different bosses are that they put in. From Software is always masters at creating cool enemies and monsters and telling a story through objects and subtle hints throughout the game. So it'll be really interesting to track that and see all the different lore that comes out of this new DLC project. Also, Kevin, expansion pass, we can pick that up on Fantasy Critic. Am I right?
No Limits already grabbed that forever ago.
What?
Yeah.
When? I didn't see
Same
that.
time they grabbed the Forza expansion.
Oh, they're too smart. Oh,
Uh,
they
I
outsmarted us,
mean,
Kevin.
listen, it says currently in development. It doesn't say coming out this year. So they might be as smart as I
That's
think they
true.
are. All
Maybe
right.
next year we got this. Easy.
Yeah. I also Googled what is the Erd Tree, and Elden Ring, it says Elden Ring's Erd Tree can be seen across the entirety of the
Yeah,
lands
it's some
between
religious
as it
thing. I
looms
don't
over the
know.
landscape. Apparently, it's a parasite that's sucking the land dry.
It makes for some pretty pictures. I will tell you that.
All right. Well, everyone that likes to suffer, enjoy your DLC.
Thank you.
I personally like if it was coming out this year, why wouldn't they say coming out this year, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
like
We might get lucky here.
maybe
Yeah.
we go counter pick. counterpick, or is that too risky?
Oh, if we counterpick, it's over because this thing's getting a 93, 94. You know it. We ain't doing that. That's too risky.
Well, story number 4 is a bit of good news. Well, not good news, a little exciting celebration. Hi-Fi Rush has hit 2 million players, confirmed by Tango Gameworks and Bethesda. Hi-Fi Rush has officially surpassed 2 million players since its January 25th shadow drop. So, little over a month there that this game has been out. Over 2 million players. You and I both beat the game, so we did our review for it. We both absolutely love Hi-Fi Rush. Seems everyone else has as well. That is very good numbers for 1 month or so on the market. I know Game Pass boosted a lot, but this is a very niche style game. So good to see this.
About to say 2 million players with a sort of niche style game. I really do think that sort of shadow drop marketing style really helped them here. A lot of hype was built up around it when they dropped it. Yeah, good for that team at Tango Gameworks. The game is absolutely incredible. If you haven't played it yet, I can't recommend it enough. It's so fun, such vibrant environments, great characters, great story, great fun, great combat, good rhythm, timing. Everything's really great about the game. And I think Tango Gameworks, they knocked it out of the park. They absolutely deserve. I think there should be more people playing. I think 2 million is too low. Get those numbers up, people. Come on. Go out.
Even if you suck at rhythm games, you can still have fun with Hi-Fi Rush.
Exactly.
I think I've said this. I'm good at rhythm games like Guitar Hero. I used to be able to play Guitar Hero on medium with my feet.
Ooh, medium.
Fun fact.
Oh, gross. Nobody wants to hear that.
I can do expert with my hands. All right. I got bored one day as a teenager. I was like, what can I do with my feet? Medium. All right.
Never use that sentence again.
You gotta sing, all right? I was singing at the same time while you say, that's the whole thing. All right. Talent.
I feel you.
Flowing out of my body. Talent. Anyway, yeah, you don't need to be the best rhythm player for this. It's just a fantastic experience. Absolutely gorgeous. I'm so glad to see that it's hitting because I want to see more of these smaller projects come out of the Xbox ecosystem.
Yes.
It seems like things like Pentiment, which wasn't for everyone, but also this isn't for everyone. So these smaller projects that are going to appeal to a certain group of players are really hitting. They're reviewing well. They're doing well in terms of sales. So keep that up, Xbox. All right. We don't need every game to be a big AAA game. These games are fantastic, especially when you have the production quality that Hi-Fi Rush had, which made it seem like a AAA game.
Yep. Yeah, and also timing matters with these sort of projects, right? I mean, the end of January, we were kind of in a dry spell there. Dead Space Remake had been out for a little bit. People were already playing that and everything. Hogwarts Legacy was about to come out, so everyone was kind of looking for that little in-between game between Dead Space Remake and Hogwarts Legacy, and this was just perfect timing for them. So, you got to market these games right. I think these smaller projects, they can be successful, most of them, but you just got to do the marketing for it and you got to build the hype around it. And that's what made Hi-Fi Rush so exciting.
Yeah, I was playing Fire Emblem and then I stopped and played Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah, of course.
Good choice, actually.
Good choice.
Fire Emblem was okay.
Check out the
anyway, review. Ethan, our last story here, I put ABK Deal summary, okay? And I really sat here and I was like, do we even want to talk about this? But there were some things that came out that perhaps we should mention. So we're going to go through all of them all at once. I'm condensing this as it's not a huge week, but nothing huge broke from this. Okay. So one, coming from Forbes, the CMA has responded to the Nintendo Xbox 10-year COD deal by saying, quote, "We note the party's submission that challenges with porting a game to Nintendo Switch has not impacted Nintendo's ability to compete on the downstream console market, as it offers more games than Xbox and PlayStation, including major games such as Apex Legends, Fortnite, and Doom Eternal." Weird to throw Doom in there.
Yeah.
However, we consider the evidence above shows that relative to the Xbox and PlayStation, the Nintendo Switch does not currently offer the same suite of graphically intensive games that PlayStation and Xbox compete on, and may not be capable of offering certain graphically intensive multiplayer games such as CoD, and does not offer similar user experience in terms of graphics and frame rate. Basically, for anyone that didn't understand that, the CMA is like, it's great you made that deal, but the Switch sucks. They're like, where's our Switch Pro?
Oh man,
Switch can't handle Call of Duty. Am I leaving anything out there?
No, that's essentially what they said. And, we've had this conversation ever since the news broke that Xbox even offered this deal to Nintendo is, they're pushing this idea that we're going to have COD on the next 10 years on Nintendo. And we've talked about how is that going to look? Are we going to have, a specific port of Call of Duty like we had back in the day with the Nintendo DS? Like it's basically a different Call of Duty game that's just down-resed. Are we going to have just a single player campaign and no multiplayer functionality? There's so many questions that go into how are they going to put COD on Switch. And I think the CMA, dare I say, they rightly called out Xbox on this because Xbox is pushing this as a way of saying, hey, we want to put this on every platform. Well, I'm sorry, if a platform sucks, we're not going to put, if you want to make it cloud, it's a first person shooter. You're not going to be able to run this game well on the cloud. It just doesn't make any sense on putting Call of Duty on Nintendo Switch. Nintendo's got to come out with another console before we could even consider putting this game onto the Nintendo Switch because honestly, you have to run Call of Duty natively to have any competitiveness playing that game. Like you will fail, you will lose every single time if you play this through cloud. Okay, so you obviously have to downsize this game to get it onto the Switch system. So I'm wondering if this is going to force Xbox's hand to say something. I'm wondering if we might see some more juicy details about the future of Nintendo through this, because maybe Xbox has it in their back pocket that, hey, we have reassurance from Nintendo that they got something in the works that can run this game.
Yo, the Super Switch is about to drop, yo.
You just wait, CMA. You just wait. We're about to get the Super Nintendo Super home console.
For real though, if they don't call it the Super Switch, they're missing a chance. Okay, because it was the Super NES, right? Like the Super. So why not just throw it back? Okay, keep your Switch, but Super Switch. All right, it sounds way better than the Switch Pro or whatever you're like Super Switch. That's what we need. But if we're actually talking about this, it does very much seem like I think they're being a little short-sighted because it's not just about bringing the Call of Duty to the Nintendo Switch. It's about bringing Call of Duty to Nintendo for the Switch and going forward on newer hardware. So I don't really get why they're being just focusing on the Switch, because in here we already know CMA doesn't consider Nintendo in the console market anyway, right? They've come out and said that. So
sure.
their whole roundabout reasoning here is very silly. Especially when they list Doom Eternal and then the next sentence say doesn't have the same suite of graphically intensive games. Doom Eternal is one of the most gorgeous games that you have on the current generation of consoles. It could do amazing things. I don't know what it did to make this game run, but it is stunning on the 120 mode especially. So that's a little, you're contradicting yourself.
But you have to admit that they are right in saying that Call of Duty can't run on the Switch.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I think
for sure.
I think that's the main point that they're trying to make, and I think that's the whole argument is that Xbox trying to control Call of Duty, that's what's creating the monopoly, because Call of Duty is such a big IP. And Xbox trying to argue that they're not doing that by saying we'll put it on Switch, while the CMA is coming out saying, how are you going to do that? That doesn't make sense. You're not going to be able to do that.
I mean, I'm sure a version of Call of Duty could run on the Switch, not a good one.
But nobody's going to want to play it.
Just like how Apex Legends and Overwatch runs on the Switch at 27 FPS.
And let's be real here too. The other argument they could use is Switch users or anybody who mains Nintendo is not looking for a Call of Duty, right? Like we're so far removed from the days where Call of Duty was on the Nintendo systems that people probably don't even have it on their radar that are maining the Nintendo Switch, or that's all they play. So
yeah,
we might. And if you have another console,
there, but for sure,
yeah. But if you have another console, you're clearly going to play it on that. Right? Like nobody just has a Nintendo Switch for the last 7 years being like, I'm waiting for Call of Duty to come on this. Like nobody's doing that, Kevin.
But what if I'm looking to pop some heads in the McDonald's on the Wi-Fi?
You ain't do that. Buy one of those Logitech Xbox things. I don't know. Anything else. Come on.
Well, part 2 of this, Phil Spencer did a recent interview with Xbox. Shocking. It was very much a propaganda piece, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
But he reaffirmed Starfield's exclusivity for some reason, and said that while games like Hogwarts Legacy had a PlayStation exclusive quest, Xbox won't be pulling that nonsense with Call of Duty when and if the deal goes through.
little bit of
Seems
shot across
a
the bow
little,
there.
yeah, a little shot across. I'm clearly paraphrasing this interview. You can
Yeah.
go listen or read or whatever with it, but he was very much of the adamant that yes, we're well aware that Hogwarts Legacy has a PlayStation exclusive content. They've done that with multiple games now,
Call of
not
Duty.
just not just Hogwarts, but Phil Spencer said they make it very clear if Xbox gets the Activision deal through, Call of Duty is going to have the same content everywhere, no matter where you play.
Yeah, I mean, well, PlayStation has done that with Call of Duty for the last like 5 iterations of Call of Duty. PlayStation has always been the home of Call of Duty in a way that they have, exclusive content for that system. So I think again, this is just adding to the narrative that Xbox is trying to build, that saying, "Hey, when we get this IP, we're going to treat it better and we're going to make it equal for everybody." They want to push that narrative, and I know that maybe that's not the case in the long run, but right now when they're fighting these battles, they're trying to make that narrative, and I think that's just another way to make his case on this.
Yeah, I mean, if this was the Xbox 360 era, I don't think they would be having this because the 360 era, they did have exclusive stuff. Like Call of Duty
Right.
was known on the 360, and then
Mhm.
PS4 generation Call of Duty migrated over there. It's been over a decade that it's been synonymous with PlayStation. They've got
Yep.
exclusive deals all the time. I
Yep.
know Destiny had exclusive weapons and strikes on the
Yep.
PlayStation that
Before
Xbox
Bungie
didn't
got
have.
bought by them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
before Bungie got it. So this is part of PlayStation's strategy. It's a very valid strategy. I
Mhm.
don't fault them for doing it. The whole purpose of business is to make your console look more enticing, get those sales on your platform. But it is good to know that Xbox won't be doing it with the at least Call of Duty. I don't know about
Right.
any of the other games because it's very much focused on Call of Duty. Everything seems to be revolving around Call of Duty these days. All right. We don't hear
Yeah.
this about like Diablo 4 won't have exclusive stuff on
And Diablo's
Xbox.
huge. That's a massive part of this deal to me, at
Oh,
least.
no, it's a massive part. I'm saying
Yeah.
like if it goes through and then we do get exclusive Diablo stuff on Xbox,
Right, right.
Phil never promised that that wouldn't happen, right?
Oh,
Like
you think they
it's
might do that? Okay.
I don't know. I'm not saying they would. It'd be weird to have it very outspoken just for Call of Duty and
Right,
then
right.
change your tone for other things, especially when you have multi-platform games like Minecraft where everything comes everywhere and
Yeah,
we
yeah.
don't get exclusive stuff. So I think it'd be weird. I don't expect them to do that. I'm just saying it leaves the door open for that kind of stuff.
Right, right.
Or maybe we get certain things through Game Pass, right? Like being a Game Pass subscriber unlocks things earlier, or
Yeah.
some advantages is
Mhm.
certainly there.
Right.
All right, last part of this. The EU is apparently going to approve the acquisition without any request for asset sales. So this came out earlier. Apparently, I think it was from Reuters. Some sources have said that the EU has been appeased by their deals with Nvidia and Nintendo, and it's all good. They're gonna give their stamp of approval, which knocks off a major block for this
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah, the European Union seems to have been falling in line with pretty much every other regulator in the world besides FTC and CMA, and basically saying, "Yeah, this is perfectly fine. We get why you're doing this." So glad to see it. The gunk is starting to clear out a little bit. We got the two big roadblocks in our way. I think the CMAs seem more aggressive than the FTC, or at least more competent than the FTC in a way. I think the FTC is going to completely fail in their lawsuit. The CMA might, be a bit of a hiccup for Xbox, but it's just good to see the sludge sort of get moving, so we could get away from this, time in our lives and start talking more about the projects that are on the horizon with all these great development studios that are going to be coming from ABK.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I'm sitting here just waiting for this to be over, to be honest, because I'm
Yeah,
like every day there's people and then they use it for console fanboy nonsense. It's like,
right,
see this, or there's a lot of drama with the FTC going on. I know unrelated to this deal. Like, didn't they tried to block something for Meta and then that got overturned
right,
recently, and
right.
some
Yep.
people have been resigning. So it's not all good at the FTC, so
Yeah,
that
no.
might play a factor. But I do want to address Vertung Mogam. I'm not sure. I haven't seen you before. Well, welcome to the show. Drop a sub or like if you're enjoying it. But he says, I don't think so. But if there'll be a Diablo 5, it could be fully exclusive. I don't think that will ever happen.
Really?
Even yes, no, I fully do not expect multi-platform online games such as Diablo, Overwatch, any of those big games to ever go exclusive. I think Xbox will always take the approach of putting those multi-platform single player games, yeah, exclusive, but I don't see a world where they make Overwatch 3 exclusive to Xbox, Diablo 5 exclusive to Xbox.
No, I would agree with you with Overwatch and Call of Duty. Obviously, I think those are going to stay multi-plat because again, those sort of games live and die by the size of their community. A game like Diablo, though, I could definitely see being an exclusive game, especially if you have the PC side locked down as well. A lot of Diablo players are PC players, right? A
Mhm.
big chunk of that community is on
Me,
PC.
I've only ever played Diablo on
Yeah,
PC.
a lot of people have only ever played Diablo on PC. So I think I could definitely see them locking down Diablo. I think that is an easier pill to swallow than, let's say, a Call of Duty or an Overwatch, because you're not going to have to deactivate a million accounts that are on PlayStation to do it. Because I mean, Diablo 5 will be a brand new video game, right? I would almost agree that Diablo 5 might actually be an exclusive. I haven't heard anything from Xbox saying that they wouldn't want it to be an exclusive. I feel like they would be highlighting that Diablo would stay multi-plat along with the other games that they have been highlighting will stay multi-plat.
Well, we know Diablo 4 is
Right.
multi-plat. Like,
But that's probably existing contracts, right? Like the game's already basically out the door at this point, right?
yeah, I don't know. I'm very much in the mindset that unless you're a single player game, like maybe, and even then, I have some doubts. I have some doubts that Crash Bandicoot goes exclusive. I have some doubts that Spyro goes exclusive.
Really?
Yeah, it's just because of their legacy on those other platforms. It could happen. The size of this deal is different than the Bethesda to me. All right. Like
Right.
Bethesda almost its lineage was with Xbox, like or
Yeah.
in PC, and
Mhm.
that's still what's going on. But those games are synonymous with PlayStation, right? So
Yeah.
it'd be weird not to see them over there. I'm not saying it wouldn't go exclusive. They have every right to make those games
Right.
exclusive.
Right.
I think from a business sense, it makes much more logical sense to be like, okay, Crash Bandicoot and Spyro are like our kid-friendly mascot platformers now
Right.
because
Right.
we hate Banjo Kazooie and we want to make Kevin cry. Um,
Oh,
I think that makes a lot of sense. But in terms of taking away games like Diablo, where you would need a giant player base because it does want you to do things like rifts with other people. You
yeah.
group up
Yeah.
the auction house, which I don't know if it's making a return. Maybe not in the same way it did last time because I made some money off the auction house. Did I ever tell you that I made some money off the
No,
all
you
right.
didn't tell me that.
Before they nerfed it and was like, we can't make real money anymore. I'm like, all right, well,
That
I would
sucks.
I would literally sit there for hours every day and like run stuff to get items and I'd
It's
put
like
them
the
up.
trading store at Wall Street. Just throwing up tickets. It's a good
Yeah, I'd be
time.
like, "What's?" And then I'd undercut people. I'd be like, "All right, try to." I broke. That's why the economy was broken in Diablo 3. Kevin
Oh, that's
Ainsworth.
so funny.
But I don't know. I'm very much in the mindset of if there's any acquisitions that will reduce will not result in exclusives. I think this is probably the one. I don't really care or expect that many exclusives unless they're new IP or single player games. Everything else, I think,
Yeah.
status quo. This is simply about getting Game Pass, getting perks, getting revenue to fund more things.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll see because I feel like Xbox right now is trying to put on a friendly face to sort of
Oh,
get
they are.
out of all the obviously they are, right? And I feel like once everything has sort of blown over and all of these lawsuits are over, we're going to start see them taking those steps to sort of lock down a lot of different IP and we're going to start seeing the actual business side of Xbox coming through and doing things like that. I could personally totally see Diablo on the chopping block for PlayStation. Call of Duty, I think that's going to stay everywhere. I think they want to keep it that way so there's not another round of lawsuits and controversies and fanboyism that goes crazy and blows up all over the world. I think though Diablo could definitely be on the chopping block. We'll see.
Guess we'll find out. But
Yep.
that's actually all we have for this week. It's a very short news week. We don't have
Yep.
any listener questions this week. So, guys, if you do want to be featured on the show, please tweet at us at Save Game Media over on Twitter, or come join the Discord. You can ask questions in there, and we'll answer them live on the show. Ethan, where can people find you, though, if they want to stay up to date with everything?
On that very same Discord, come talk about Wolong Fallen Dynasty. We're gonna be talking about that this weekend. It's gonna be a good time.
I won't be. I'll be playing Like a Dragon, Kirby, and then the Quarry. I have the Quarry downloaded, ready to go.
Finally! I'm so excited for next week for you to tell me about the Quarry.
I don't know. It depends on because I'm gonna play it with the girlfriend. So it depends on how. Yeah, I showed her the trailer. I was like, "Listen, do you want to play this scary game with me?" Because it has look David Arquette from Scream. All right, you know him. And she's down. So I think
cool
we want to beat Kirby
hear how
first.
it does co-op, because I played it single player, so should be fun.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you could just pass the controller back and forth, right? Like that's usually how you don't
I think so.
All right. Well, I'll report on it whenever I play it. But until then, you can follow me at the Muffin Mon on Twitter. It's a 1-7 O-7A. Follow us at Save Game Media, like I said. And fun little tidbit, Ethan. I joined a Zoom meeting because I'm working from home from my personal Zoom account. Yep. Last thing I did on that personal Zoom account was join the Iron Lords podcast. So my name said the Muffin Mon, and all my coworkers saw it and thought it was. They're like, "What the hell is
You've been outed, Kevin?"
They're like, "Did I say the Muffin Man?" I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about. You guys are seeing stuff anyway."
We'll see. It.
Yeah, I was gaslighting my coworkers, like, "You're seeing stuff. You're blind." Anyway, we'll see you next week. Goodbye.